Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our pre-recorded
pre-recorded and live presentation.
We're going to attempt to do this in one take. We hope it goes really well. You'll find out. We'll find out. So just a little bit of an introduction. We are YONK, and we are a studio based in The Hague, Netherlands. I'm Victoria Young. Just a little bit background about me, because I love talking about myself. I have a history in fine art sculpture. So I started with actually making sculptures, and then I slowly ended up here at YONK, or being part of YONK. And with me
is Niels van der Donk, and I have a background in graphic design. I studied at the Art Academy, the Royal Academy of Art in The Hague, as a graphic designer, and now next to YONK, I work as a motion designer at Studio Dunbar. And now we could say a little bit like how we started. Actually, that's quite nice.
I think that's a good way to start. So we actually started because I was making a video clip for a good friend of mine, and I was making that in Cinema 4D with quite little knowledge of how to actually use Cinema 4D, but it was a good first go. And it was all hard surface modeling, sort of basic animation. And to render this video clip, we didn't want to use a render farm. We actually thought it would be better to invest in a computer in case we had further projects. And that was sort of the best thing we've ever done, because then...
Yeah, I saw. The thing was, I saw her. Like, I used a little bit of 3D during my studies, but I kind of lost my passion for it. Maybe. And then I saw you working with it, and I was like, wow, that's actually still really cool. And then we thought, okay, maybe we should invest also in a VR set, so we can use Medium by Adobe, back then Oculus Medium, so we can sculpt everything in 3D. And since then, literally everything we make is made in virtual reality.
Yeah.
And also mostly animated and recorded in VR.
VR as well. We love the tool. And so just to really give you a understanding on what we make, we're going to go through our work, and we're just going to go through in chronological order. To show you sort of the build-up of how we started and how we are now.
How we got to the point that we are at today. We're going to start with a demo festival, which was basically our first collaboration together. Because demo was a motion festival in end of 2019, organized by Studio Dunbar. And they wanted to display motion from people from across the globe at Amsterdam Central Station. And they got to use like the screens that were placed there that are normally used for advertisements. So like these big standing screens. And they were allowed to use them for 24 hours. Super cool. You could just send in your animations. So we were like, okay, let's do this. This is a good first start for us. So we made these creatures, these aliens. Some people thought it was typography. We still don't really know ourselves, I guess.
Some people see type, which we like as well. It's okay if you see that.
You're allowed to think whatever you want. And we sculpted them in a way that they almost fit perfectly within these screens. And these eyes are just following these little blobs of light. And it was... yeah, super cool to also immediately for the first time get in there, also see our work like in the public, like literally like just you see everyone leaving trains or like during rush hour and just walking past these creatures was super nice first project. After that, we did a project together with Sander Ettema. And Sander Ettema is an illustration guy from the Netherlands that we already followed for quite some time. We also know him in real life. And we were already a big fan of his illustrations, and we just kind of thought, oh, it would be super interesting to see his illustrations in 3D. So we asked him, okay, do you have a nice selection of illustrations that we could try to 3D-fy, I guess.
Yeah.
So we took his illustrations and made these in 3D. We kind of saw it maybe as an also some kind of exercisement for ourselves. And it was really fun. But then also Sander came up with the idea to do more of a true collaboration by asking us if we make a 3D sculpt. So we made these small series of flowers, and then he added the faces onto the flowers, and it was really really fun.
Yeah, that was a really good project to test out the VR sculpting. And the next project we self-initiated, so we used images from the Rijksmuseum archive. And this was a really good way, again, to see how illustration could be made into 3D. And with this one, we sort of looked at mostly like elephants, animals, gremlins, and sort of mystical beings, and used them as images of reference. And it ended up as a kind of nice result, so it's sort of paying homage to the original illustration in some way. And this was the first time that we used a software called Substance Painter, which added a process onto our workflow with turning the VR sculpts into something really detailed texture-wise. And yeah, it was a very interesting project. I would definitely recommend using the Rijksmuseum archive as reference images, because they have some wild things on there.
Yeah, and you can access everything. It's really super good material.
Exactly. And the next project we did was similar with using Substance Painter. But it was for this time, it was for It's Nice That. And we were commissioned by It's Nice That. I think maybe you may know of them, but if not, they are a creative magazine, and they basically highlight creators and artists. They're a great website, and they asked us to use as a reference the rainbows that were popping up everywhere around the world, I think, in windows, spreading positivity over the time of coronavirus. Which we're still in, still trying to spread that positivity. And these ones were, they asked us to make our own rainbows. So we responded to that by thinking about how the coronavirus has affected us. And the one thing we both agreed on was that we missed seeing our friends. We hadn't seen them for a while. We actually still haven't seen them for a while.
So sad.
So sad. So we decided to sculpt them in a medium, and then paint them with these rainbow colors. So these are sort of three of our friends. We try to do mixtures of them. We do have more than three friends. And how we ended up with these pieces.
Yeah. Another project that's really nice to talk about was Pour the Milk. Basically, we just all of a sudden received an email from Max Siedentov, really great artist, and he asked us quite literally, okay, I really want disgusting looking milky letters for a video clip. Can you guys do that? Then we're like, yes, we definitely should be able to do that. And we didn't do typography yet before, so that was a nice experience as well. And he just had a really crazy idea with this girl pouring milk over herself, being a bit weird, and he wanted to have the lyrics on top of the video clip, and he gave us quite some freedom to just go wild with it. So we just made these letters animated them. It was a super nice, interesting assignment.
Yeah, and an interesting way of using the sculpting in sort of a more, let's say, commercial project.
Yeah.
In a sense, still obviously creative, but and using it in different ways.
Yeah. Yes. And then we thought it would be interesting to show like what we do for animation, because like we explained, we both don't have a background in 3D animation or 3D overall. We both come from really different places, but so essentially like we figured out we are not super good with hand keyframing animation. So we kind of try to cheat the system a little bit when it comes down to animation, and we were just thinking, okay, how can we do that? Then we dug up our Kinect, or your Kinect that you had from ages ago, and then saw if we wanted to see if we could use it to do some motion tracking with it to also animate our characters. And this is the first test we've done, and then afterwards we also did use the same system for Lisa Annabis, the creative director of Studio Dunbar, for her presentation. And we, even though we do like the Kinect, it's quite janky, but I think it also fits our style in general.
It's not the most smoothest piece of software for animation.
No,
but it's
works. Fun, and it's insanely hard to make it work as well. So it's insanely hard work for the least amount of outcome, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But then we also wanted to. We also got an iPhone. What is it? The numbers, I forget.
iPhone 11.
11, yeah. They have the true depth camera, so we saw that you could use them for some face tracking. So we had the idea to make this character called Lil Lala. We made a song for her. We still haven't finished this thing, but these are some nice tests we've done with face tracking ourselves. And also a good test to see if we can use our VR sculpts for, quite some intense face tracking. Yeah.
It worked out quite nice. And that was sort of mostly using blend shapes to animate with that software. Just to flick through some of the most recent series that we've done, these are all sort of self-initiated series. And the way that we kind of come up with ideas mostly is that we have a little chat somewhere, and we think about what we've done that week, what we've seen, and what we think would be nice to see as a 3D sculpt as well. So these are sort of outcomes of that, those little chats. So the first one we'll talk about is these square faces.
Most of our work is not really titled. I guess we call this square faces.
They've had many names, baby faces, square
people
faces.
Calling them babies.
Yeah, so it really is like we don't really title things, but in our heads they're there. So this one is a small series of faces, and we basically with this one try to focus mostly on having a sort of realistic facial shape, but fitting to the Instagram square. So the outcome was these really strange looking faces. And the next one was?
It was the icons.
The icons.
Yeah, there was also, we wanted to make, like the Instagram, you're allowed to make these highlights of your stories, and you can make a little icon for them. And we first thought, we can just give them a color or something. Then we thought, no, let's just make the icons ourselves. So we made these little alien monster people. And we also we animated them in the most simplest way possible, and we also produced music that goes along with it ourselves.
The next series we made was a series of bikers. And as we are living in the Netherlands right now, it's quite easy to see where this one was inspired by. The culture of biking here is insanely high, or very much a culture, let's say. So this one actually, just to sort of get down to the details, is I was sitting in Amsterdam and I was just watching people bike past, and I actually realized that most people look like their dogs, that people look like their bikes too, that there's a strange like resemblance between people and their bikes. Obviously people choose their bikes for a certain aesthetic reason. With this one, we really tried to look at the mechanics of a bike, but changing it so it has this certain strange style to it. So the sort of bike wheels are not functioning. They look a bit flat and they stick to the floor. And there's a lot of tiny little pieces that create like a human aspect. So there's a tiny little key on one of the bikes. There's a lot of different things. So this one we really enjoyed making. Unfortunately one of them turns out with 2 left hands, but autonomy isn't our strongest point.
No. And then this is a small series, Mushroom People, I like to call it. And we figured, I think the interesting part about it is like we figured out how to use the VR set as a virtual camera within Blender. Oh yeah, so everything like outside of the first project that Vicky was working on, we always use Blender for everything essentially. And we figured out to connect our virtual reality set, the Oculus Rift S, to connect it to Blender and use it to control the camera position within Blender. This is something quite recent that we figured out to do. It's really hard to figure it out now, but I'm pretty sure Blender will release something that you can actually do it yourself quite easily. But we see a lot of potential in this. It allows you to get kind of literally a natural feeling of the camera movement, because this is literally us like walking around in the living room with the VR headset on, just acting like there's a mushroom person in front of us singing a little tune. So the last series, the most recent series we've done are what we call the Oracle. And we make these during our Twitch live stream, which I heavily encourage you to watch. So we every Sunday we do soothing Sunday sculpt sessions, we call it, where we just sculpt our upcoming series and live stream it on Twitch. Twitch.tv/YONK online if you wanna have a look, and we just have a little chit chat. We chit chat with our viewers. We get a lot of compliments that people like to see, like really see like how we work, how everything comes together from beginning to start. So most times like 2 hours long. And these phases were we made most of these during the stream.
Yeah. So now that we've gone through our work and you've seen a little more of what we make, we were encouraged to talk a little bit about VR and how it aids our creative process. So first of all, I think we'd just both like to say that VR, we couldn't wish for anything better than using VR, especially for 3D production. We definitely feel that the program, Medium by Adobe now, has this smooth way of creating 3D models right before your eyes, and you're completely immersed. Well, what we'd like to call it is our studio, or in the space of VR. There is no distractions. There's no one messaging you, or there's no Instagram to flick through. So we honestly recommend it from our point of view. And we really, before that, feel that we struggled with 3D, or there was a barrier between what we wanted to create and the actual work that you have to put in to get there. There was a lot of things you had to learn. It didn't feel intuitive. It didn't feel easy. And now with this software, we can very much sculpt however we want to.
We can immediately sculpt what is in our heads.
Exactly. That's the sort of process that we really love, that we can just get it out on paper or in
on
paper as well.
Virtual paper.
Yeah, virtual paper in a certain way. It has completely shaped our style. It's completely shaped how we make everything. From someone who was sculpting before, but more in a physical sense, to now have this tool where I don't take up physical space, I only take up digital, is really something I find really cool, because I don't need to fill any more physical space. That makes me sound like I'm quite a big person. I'm not. But yeah, it really has completely rounded everything we do. And also with using it for different things. So using it for virtual production. And these things I think we'll see come more into play when we, as technology advances. So I would like to probably cap off our presentation by saying that we're looking forward to seeing where VR goes, and that we will probably continue.
We hope to be part of it for sure. Yeah,
we definitely hope to be part of whatever's next, really, and we're just looking forward to seeing whatever's next.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll end there, and we just want to say a huge thank you to AnimatekaPRO for having us here. We are very thankful. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah.
And and we managed to do it in one take.
Hey!
So we're very happy with that too.
All right.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll meet you over at the live Q&A.
Bye-bye. Oh, start. Hello.
I think it's so for the ones who just tuned in right now, my name is Manu Weiss, and I will be the host of the Q&A today. And our next guests are YONK, Neil and Vicky.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm especially delighted to have you here today because and also a big thank you that you just jumped in so quickly, because I just asked you just a few days ago. Unfortunately, we had a late cancellation of a talk, and I'm so stoked that you just came in, and basically that I got to know that you actually exist and that you do VR. So, because I really just discovered that you're using VR just a few weeks or days ago. And I was so bummed that I didn't actually put you in the lineup before, because the lineup was already made before I knew. So I'm really, 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 really happy that I got to catch you.
Questions, yeah. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us anyways.
Thanks for coming. So we have a few questions. I have a few questions, but also we have questions from the audience. I think I will start with them. So Velko Popovic asks, hi Yonkers, can you explain a bit on how you connect the VR headset with Blender? If it's too complex, can you get in touch with me? And then his email, I can share that with you afterwards, as I will be very interested in learning how to do this. Thank you.
That's a really complex one because we actually researched it for, I think, for 2 months, because Blender allows like VR set to be connected to it now with the newest update, but it doesn't allow you to control things with it yet. So kind of keyframe it. And we found like a really complex way to work around that. But we can of course email it over.
Yeah, I think that's something for an email.
Yeah,
Very long.
Yeah,
process.
it took a very long time.
Yeah.
Found
Tutorial for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We need a tutorial. But yeah, it's a very long process. But Blender are working on that, having that connection.
I think it's gonna be like everyone's gonna have access to it very soon, I reckon.
We hope.
We hope.
I mean, as I know, they just wrapped up this like XR tool kind of shelf thingy. So I guess that's exactly like a tool that should be in there if it's not already in there.
Yeah,
Sure,
we're now found like someone like he made it actually, I think, like a year ago already, and he made a plugin for it that's really strange to work with, but yeah.
Nice. We'll send you an email.
Yeah.
Perfect. And Vesela, I'm sorry if that's wrong spelled your name, but is the melted plastic or liquid foam aesthetic a deliberate choice of your work, or it's an outcome of the way you're working?
Good one.
It's a good one. We haven't thought about that. I think that it could be an outcome of the way we're working. So the way we're working in Oculus Medium. Obviously it has, or Medium by Adobe actually now. It has a lot of freedom to it. And I think it could be that, but I mean, we're also coming from backgrounds of like graphic design and fine art. So every time we make something, we do have something in mind, the way that it looks and the composition of how it is. So yeah,
I think it's very natural with the program, because you work kind of with foamish material anyways, and I think it was also like the way we started working with it was immediately like that we enjoyed the most, instead of like making very like hard surface 3D models, or like gives it a lot more personality, we believe, if you just like go with the flow and just leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
And that, I think so Medium has a lot of influence on that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I hope that answers the question.
And Zane is asking how easy it will be to create grainy textures, sand, for example.
Grainy texture, like sand, is always super hard because it's really detailed, and it doesn't come across as sand if it doesn't have that detail in it. But we sometimes use like you have a lot of Blender material specialists who can do insane, like you can make insane shaders. Sometimes we use that as a base. So we have like a sand shader that we use as a base, and then we change it into different.
We modify it for our own whatever purposes or use.
But it's always good to find like a base, and especially for sand, because sand can be super complicated if you want to be realistic. But it's always nice to find a base and then work with that.
Nice.
And now I have a question. You primarily use VR in your workflow as a tool. Do you see yourself also like creating a full short film with it, or even like a VR experience?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. In fact, we have a specific idea for a VR experience.
Yeah.
That hasn't come to light yet.
No.
The reason is I guess that at the moment we're more 3D modelers than we are animators, and animation is something that we're currently working on and improving. But yeah, we definitely have ideas for short films. We both like to have a lot of fun and make jokes, so that always turns into like an idea or something. So I definitely don't think it stops at still images for us.
No.
But at the moment, that's sort of the corner that we
haven't found the time yet. Let's put it this way. But it's definitely the idea is it's definitely there.
Yeah, we're definitely
definitely see that through the work, so that works perfectly. So Neil, you were mentioning that you use like VR also for works at the studio that you're working for, like Dunbar. How do you see like, do they also use like VR in their own pipeline, or was it just because you kind of forced them to use VR?
No, Lisa, the creative director, is just is really nice and just would like to. She wanted to like implement VR somehow, and we're still looking for ways that we can use it over there as well. But it's not a forced thing. Like I also. Everyone really wants is always super overly enthusiastic, but it's always hard to find the right project for it where it would work out. Yeah.
Well, it's cool if you find like project where you can sneak it in.
Yeah, exactly. Find an excuse almost.
Yeah, and I actually also really like the fact that you are building some kind of a brand around what you do in VR, and also like the live stream. I actually want to share the live stream link that people can follow you there. Where did I put it? Like here. I mean, I think that's quite a good plan on getting like the work out and just show people what is actually possible with VR, because usually they probably would not even guess that it's done in VR. Exactly. And maybe like some creatives would be like very interested in using this as well. So that's also why I actually wanted to have like this kind of talks, just to let people talk a little bit on how they actually use VR. And because like, you know, we're all creatives in here, so it's probably mostly the questions that we have with this kind of stuff. So I have like another question now. I lost it. I just wrote them down and I can't remember. Wait a second. Yeah, exactly. So what would be your dream VR tool next to Adobe Medium?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I guess it would be great to have that. I don't know. For me, it would be great to have that instant virtual production.
Yeah.
That you just import the objects.
Yeah.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all in VR, and because obviously the method that we're using for virtual production at the moment is very complex and it takes time.
Yeah.
And obviously Blender will probably get there, but I think if it was all in VR, that would be amazing.
And also maybe, I mean, that will definitely happen at some point as well, but also like detailed texturing within VR as well. Like if you could use something like Substance Painter in VR would be quite sick as well. Like, yeah, that would be cool. But especially virtual production. Like I also think the growth in there is gonna happen really fast.
We hope so.
I mean, there are already like a few tools who do all of this that you're talking about, but I mean, it's still like most of these tools are still like kind of crude, or they're not like super professional. But I also like you need like a lot of computer power to actually even make this work.
Exactly.
But I guess like it will get that there at some point. I mean, it just needs a little bit more mature time, I think. Yeah. But I mean, that's definitely something that, I mean, we always use like so many programs. So it's really cool if you just could have one and you can do everything in it. So that's definitely something to do. I mean, my dream tool would also be like that I have my desktop computer on my face, basically. And I don't need like a physical one, so I can like just bring it wherever I am.
Yeah.
And also be spatial, of course. But I mean, that's still like something for the future, I guess. But we're getting there. I think.
We're getting there slowly but surely.
We're gonna get a PC upgrade soon as well. So like with them.
That's cool. Yeah. Speaking of, what kind of machine do you have? Let's get a little bit.
Wow. We still have this. So we bought the computer. Like we bought it like a PC with like a 1050 Ti, like back, and then we replaced the graphics card with a second-hand 1070 that was used for Bitcoin mining by someone. Okay. That's the one that we're still using, and it actually is a great graphics card still. But now it's getting old, so we need to.
But you're still like in the good range, I would say, for you.
But now we want to get to the 3000 series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
That's the dream. They're all sold out or something, or they cost like a liver and a kidney or something.
We found it now, so we're gonna get it this month. So then it's gonna be good.
And then hopefully we can do all these crazy things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to when there's more and more crazy stuff of you is coming.
It will get there for sure.
Yeah. So basically our 10 minutes are up. So thank you so much for joining us, and just enjoy the rest of the festival, I would say.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah. Super nice.
Thank you. Bye-bye.